The next Ajax framework we're going to take a look at is XHCon, which you can reach. You can find at this URL. And XHCon is another Ajax framework that allows you to work with Ajax without writing your own Ajax code. And to download it, you just go to this link and you get xhcon.js. You should put that in the same directory on your web server as your Ajax enabled page. And we're going to take a look at using XHCon here. And what's going to happen is we're going to download some text from a text file. When this button is clicked, the display message button, the text is going to be downloaded. This data was fetched using XHCon. It's in a file called xhcon.txt on the web server. And when I click this button, that text should be downloaded and displayed. And as you see here, that's indeed the case. This data was fetched using XHCon. So let's take a look at how to work with XHCon now. And you start off by including xhcon.js, which you downloaded from the XHCon webpage, in your scripts like this with a script element. Type equals text/JavaScript, source equals xhcon.js, as you see here. And that makes available all the functions in XHCon to you and in your web page. And when the user clicks the display message button, we're going to call a function called useXHCon in this example. And here it is. And in order to work with XHCon, what you do is you create a new XHCon object. And I'm going to call that myCon. And this is the syntax to create that object, as you see here. And you create a callback function. This is the function that's going to be called when the data has been fetched. And in this case, what's going to happen is you use the XML HTTP request object variable that is passed to the function, as you see there. And you can use the response text, response XML, and so forth, different properties of that XML HTTP request object. And so what we're going to do is just, in this case, is use the response text property to display the fetch text inside the target div, which is in the web page like this, target div. When we replace the text, the fetch data will go here with the actual downloaded data. Okay, so that is the callback function, as you see there. It is passed an XML HTTP request object. So this differs from other Ajax frameworks in that it doesn't actually give you direct access to the response text, but actually gives you, simply passes you the XML HTTP request object itself. Then, in order to actually make the connection to the server, you use the XHCon connect function, and you give the URL of the data you want to access, which in this case is xhcon.txt. You say get or post. In this case, we're going to use the get method. This variable, this parameter, allows you to pass data to the server. We're not going to pass any data to the server. We're also going to list the callback function that should be called when the download is complete. So when the download of xhcon.txt is complete, that's the xhcon.txt, of course, contains this data was fetched using XHCon. When that download of that text is complete, the callback function will be called, past this XML HTTP request object. You can use the response text property of that object to fetch the actual text and display it in a target div like this. And as you see, that's what's actually happening in this example. This data was fetched using XHCon. So that's a quick introduction to XHCon, and as you see, you can use the connect method to connect to the web server using Ajax techniques behind the scenes, and it will download data for you. In this case, it will pass you the entire XML HTTP request object, but it's simple from there to simply use the response text or response XML properties to fetch the data that was downloaded from the server. So another good and free Ajax framework, XHCon.